What's up, everybody? Krakenol here, and today we're going to be going over the Fantastic Four Precon. In the previous video, we just covered the Avengers Assemble Precon, so don't forget to check that one out. And if you like this content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You guys have gotten me up to 601 subscribers, so we crossed that 600 threshold as we're rebuilding under the Krakenol, so I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Let's get into this. So, of course, Fantastic Four, we got all four of them. They're all have the ability to be the face commanders because they have the red, green, white, and blue in their text boxes, so any of them can command it. Mr. Fantastic, 2 and a blue, Vigilance Reach 2/4 at the beginning of combat on your turn. If you cast a non-creature this turn, draw a card. Copy target triggered ability. If you control twice, you may choose new copies. He's who I would choose to be the general, either him or Sue. They each have the when you cast a non-creature on your combat text box, and then they each do different things. So Fantastic copies the triggered abilities. Human Torch, when you deal combat damage to opponent, it hits the whole table. Sue's is when you pay red, green, white, blue. Target creature gets +1 until the end of turn and can't be blocked. And then Thing, you may pay and then you double the number of counters. There are the uncommon versions of these that we covered in a previous video that have an infinite loop with each other. Because one, read is like when a token comes in, you draw a card. Johnny is when you draw a card, it pings. And then Thing is when you ping, you get counters. And then when you counters, draw a card, and then you get a token from Invisible Woman, and then it just loops over and over and over. So go check out the video where we covered that one during preview season. But like I said, any one of these could be your face commander. There's even one where they're all four together that come from the Jumpstart, I believe, that I think could be a good commander. And then you just have all of these inside. Okay, so we got Invisible Force Field, 1 and a white, instant, up to 4 target permanents you control gain indestructible until the end of turn. So it saves 4 your Fantastic Four or 4 of your best creatures. They all have a signature spell, as they were calling it, even though it doesn't have like any sort of like type line. But they all have Rebound. And Rebound is if you cast a spell from your hand, exile it as it resolves. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may cast a card again without paying its mana cost. And we got Cut a Deal, 2 and a white, sorcery. Each opponent draws a card, then you draw a card for each opponent who drew a card this way. So best when you have 4 opponents. So each, they each draw, and then you draw 3. Okay card, cool art. Clever Concealment, 2 white, convoke. Any number of target permanents you control phase out. Then hold on, I was gonna say I was looking at prices earlier. That one was still like a $5 card. Path to Exile is just your typical, swords or path that we get every set, but it's got the reigning Ben Grimm art, which is pretty sweet. Promise of Loyalty, 4 and a white. Each player puts a vow counter on each creature they control and sacrifices the rest. Each of those creatures can't attack you or a planeswalker you control for as long as it has a vow counter. It's a reprint from Conspiracy, I believe. Might be a previous commander set, but it's just you find it in a lot of white base decks, so not bad. Bovine Intervention, 1 and a white, destroy target artifact or creature its controller gets a 2/2 white ox. So removal in white, other than like exile effects, so not bad. Reprint, Collective Effort is also a reprint, has Escalate. Tap an untapped creature you control so you would tap 2 creatures plus this, and then you get all 3. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater, destroy target enchantment, and put a 1/1 counter on each creature. If you didn't notice, there's not very many creatures in the deck outside of them. There are some, but not very many, because they have the non-creature spell trigger. Ultimate Nullification, 4 and a white. As an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice a legendary creature, exile all creatures in graveyards, put Ultimate Nullification on the bottom of its owner's library. Pretty weird board wipe. So you're sacking a legendary, which you'll probably have a million legendaries because it's Marvel. And you exile all creatures in all graveyards, and then this reshuffle, or not shuffle, but goes on the bottom. I can see that being pretty good, but I'd rather just play another board wipe like Cleansing Nova. Destroy all creatures, destroy all artifacts and enchantments. I will say that the ultimate nullification being able to hit graveyards is cool, and it's an exile effect. So, Tragic Arrogance, sweet card, but awesome art. For each player you choose from among the permanents that player controls, an artifact, a creature, enchantment, and planeswalker, then player sacrifices all other non-land permanents. So, specific board wipe, but they still get to save one of each thing, unless they don't have an like an artifact, an enchantment, or a planeswalker. Then it's just a wipe. Monologue tax, cool. 2 and a white enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, create a treasure token. Not as good as like Smothering Tide, but still like we have Smothering Tide at home kind of card, which is pretty good. Just put it in your deck if you can't afford Smothering Tide, or if you just want another effect like that. As you see here, still no creatures except for Valeria. Oh no, we got Lockjaw. Okay, but none in white. But we have the ability to make creatures with Bovine, and that's it. Quantum Misalignment, 4 and a blue. Create a token copy that's a copy of target creature you control except for it isn't legendary. So we can play that one Fantastic Four from the jump starts, and then the uncommon ones, and the main ones, and maybe a couple of these other ones, and then you're just focusing on like copy. There's a lot of copy effects. It has rebound, so I'm not sure if this was things or reads spell since it's got the rebound and they have like their signature spells. Lockjaw, really cool to see Lockjaw here in humans. They did. There's a few Inhumans in here, so I thought it was sweet that they figured out a way to get Inhumans and the Fantastic Four, since they interact within the comics. So that's cool. 1 in a blue, 1/1, legendary creature, Inhuman dog hero, Vigilance. Beginning combat on your turn, if you cast a non-creature spell, put a 1 counter on Lockjaw. When you do, Lockjaw and up to one other target creature you control can't be blocked this turn. So it's kind of like they teleport to get through, which is cool because Lockjaw can teleport people. Valeria Richards, Precocious, 3 and a blue, 3/3. So she is the daughter of Sue and Reed, and she has non-creature spells, cast 1 less. Cool. I do wish she did cost 3, but Fantastic Four, but not sure. This is when they had both kids, so they had 6. But I do wish it cost 3, so you could get this down before you start casting your commanders, and then maybe ramp into being able to play a non-creature spell right afterwards, and then triggering her. But whenever you cast your first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card. Kind of had the same problem that Jarvis did, where I wish Jarvis cost 1 less to come down before your commanders, but I digress. Deep Analysis, 3 and a blue. Target player draws 2 cards. Flashback, 1 in the blue. Pay 3 life, and then you can cast it again. It's a reprint for sure. Cool art. Council of Reeds, 2 and a blue. 3/2/2. Legendary creature, human scientist hero. So we had 3 creatures here. This is legend rule. Doesn't apply to creatures you control. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you cast a non-creature spell, make a token copy. Like again, I said there's a lot of like token copy things to get other creatures into play, but it's still like focusing on the non-creature spells. Fantastic Elasticity, 2 and a blue. Choose 1. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Rebound. Okay, so this I think was Reed's signature spell. So you're only getting 1 of them, and it's got the rebound, and so you can return target instant or sorcery from your graveyard. You're casting lots of non-creature spells, or you can bounce something. Recurring Insight, 4 blue, sorcery, draw cards equal to the number of cards in target opponent's hand, and then rebound. Pretty cool. It's a little expensive for what it does, but you get it twice, which is not bad. This was a reprint of 5 blue blue. They got Mind's Dilation. This was an expensive card, so a good reprint, and they got the Watcher on it. Whenever an opponent casts their first spell each turn, that player exiles the top card of their library. If it's a non-land card, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. Pretty sweet. That's just any spell. So creature, instant, sorcery, enchantment, artifact, anything. Good reprint. I put the Council of Reeds token here just because I thought it had cool art, and it just kind of signifies you can make multiple of them. So here's one of them right here, Mr. Fantastic Reed Richards, 3 in a blue. One of the ones I was talking about earlier. Whenever one or more tokens you control enter, you may draw a card. I'm not sure I got all of them because I didn't have Sue up here. But this is one of the ones that go into the infinite loop. Franklin Richards, Ascendant, 5 in a red. Franklin is their son, and I like that they got him as a mutant hero, which has implications in the comics. He's a 6/6. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you cast a non-creature spell this turn, discover 6. Discover 6 is exiling cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card with mana value 6 or less and cast it without paying its mana cost. I feel like this set, just in general, has so many of these like cast things for free off the top of your library or from exile, discover 6. So the amount of these cards in this set is just astronomical. So great card. Could be a general just within his own, and great card for the deck. Nova Flame, X2 red. This was his signature card, if I recall. Or no, Flame 1 was. X1, 1 counters on target creature. On target creature you control, it deals damage equal to its power. Goes great on Johnny. So this reminds me of like how the Marvel superheroes, where he's goes supernova. Marvel Rivals. Seize the Day. This was a good reprint too. It's like an older card that hasn't been reprinted. 3 in a red, untap target creature. After this main phase, there's an additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase. And then it has flashback for 2 in a red. Pretty great. Goes great with all this like Flame on Johnny stuff. 4 in a red, sorcery. X 1/1 counters on target creature, where X is the number of non-creature, non-land cards in your graveyard. It gains flying into the end of turn. Again, Johnny hits the entire table, so you put this on him. You cast your non-creature spell. You know, you get the gist. Alicia Masters, Skilled Sculptor, 1 in a red, 04. A Human Artificer, that's Ben Grimm's wife. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you cast a non-creature spell this turn, create a treasure token. Since the good, at the beginning of your end step, each player gains control of all creatures they own. That's a weird one. At the beginning of your end step, each player gains control of all creatures they own. So I guess if someone is playing like a steal your cards kind of deck, this is a pretty good counter to that because you're going to get your cards back, like Agent of Treachery, stuff like that. Into the Vortex, 4 in a red, Cascade, and Rebound. So you're going to be able to hit a 4 mana or 3 mana, etc. spell off of this for 5, but then it will rebound and you'll get to do it again on your upkeep. I don't know if that was a reprint or not. Let me know down in the comments below, but pretty cool. Might be one of the first cuts though, you know. Green was pretty good. So we got 3 visits, 1 in a green. Pretty expensive uncommon still, and it gets reprinted quite a bit, so not bad. And then you get like a marble skin over it. Search your library for a forest card, put it on the battlefield. Medusa, Inhuman Queen, 2 in a green. Legendary creature, Inhuman Noble Hero, 2/2. Vigilance, Reach. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, get a 1/1 counter Medusa. So it's like a Mana Gorger Hydra type of card. Path of Discovery, 3 in a green. Whenever a creature you control enters, explores, and explorers reveal the top card of your library, put it into your hand if it's a land, or it gets a 1/1, and you can put it back or in your graveyard. So pretty good card for this deck, although it will be showing them the top of your deck, and if you got a bunch of powerful non-creature spells on top, there you go. Farseek, standard Commander reprint with cool Fantastic Four like original launch art. You know, they're launching to go into space. Cultivate, 2 and a green. Also, search your library for 2 basics. 1 goes on the battlefield tapped, the other in your hand. Very standard commander card. Terramorph, 3 and a green. Search your library for a basic land. Put it on the battlefield, shuffle, and then rebound. Just ramp, because you need it. It's a 4-color deck. I don't think we've had Terramorph in a while, so that's a good, cool reprint, you know. Clobbering Time, 2 and a green. Here's Bin's signature card. Choose 1. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature and opponent controls. So it's a bite. And then destroy target artifact or enchantment, rebound. Okay, we got into our multicolor. We are a 4-color deck, so we get like a lot of like multicolored cards. We got Black Bolt, Inhuman King, 2 blue white, 3/3 legendary creature, Inhuman Noble Hero. Flying. A lot of people don't know Black Bolt can fly. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, he gets 2/2 to the end of the turn. Lethal Voice. Whenever Black Bolt becomes a target of a spell or ability and opponent controls, destroy target non-land permanent that player controls. I think that's very flavorful because he doesn't speak unless he really has to, or he's like in danger, or his family's in danger, because he can kill anything with his voice. So if you attack him, he's forced to attack back, and he gets to destroy something. And then he can also pump himself when you're casting non-creature spells. Pretty cool. Crystal Inhuman Princess, 1 green red. Flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it deals X to each opponent, where X is the number of colors that spell is, 2, 3. You could technically make her your general of this deck too, because she has red, green, white, blue, and she pays for the triggered ability cost of the main Fantastic Four, so that's pretty cool also. I could definitely see her being the general. First family, 2 green and blue. Instant, you draw X cards and gain X life, where X is the number of colors among permanents you control and spells you cast this turn. It's decent at refilling, a little expensive, but I can see it still staying in the deck, but could be, if you're coming down to the chopping board, one of the first cards to go. Power Pack, this is a deep cut. Legendary creature, Human Hero, 4/4, flying, vigilance, trample, haste, representing one of each of the creatures there. Whenever Power Pack deals combat damage to a player, exile target instant or sorcery from your graveyard chosen at random. In the beginning of your next upkeep, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost. If that spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. So it kind of gives like all cards rebound, but randomly. I don't think I would make this one the general, but I think it does stay because it lets you recast your non-creature spells. Kind of gives them all rebound. And a deep cut for sure. 4 green blue Cosmic Crucible enchantment. At the beginning of your first main phase, add 4 mana in any color combination of colors. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. Once each turn. So you're getting 4 mana on your first main phase. So it costs 6, but then on your next turn, you automatically get 4 back every turn to cast your spells or trigger the triggered ability. Pretty sweet. It stays in the deck for sure. Namor Atlantean King, 1 blue and a white. Funny that he's in there because he's like madly obsessed with Sue and he's always like pursuing her. So he's like kind of a frenemy, I guess. He's a 2/2 flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 blue merfolk token. When Namor attacks a player who has more life than you, other creatures get 2/0 till the end of the turn. Imperious Rex. Flavor text, pretty cool. One of the few creatures in the deck, like I said, but then he allows you to make like a token army. Pretty cool. Dragon Man, got Power Pack on Dragon Man. Dragon Man, Reformed Robot, another frenemy, 2 white and a blue, legendary artifact creature, Dragon Robot. Flying, Dragon Man's power is equal to the greatest mana value among non-creature permanents you control and non-creature cards in your graveyard. You may cast this card from your graveyard by discarding a card in addition to paying other cost. So it's recurable. All you have to do is discard, and its power is equal to the greatest mana value among non-creature permanents. So it would be like a 4 or 5 if this is all you have, right? No, because non-creature permanents. So like this enchantment would make it a 7/5, etc. Not sure on that one, but it is recurable, which is always nice. Galvanic Iteration, blue-red. Whenever you cast your next instant or sorcery spell, copy that spell. You may choose new targets. Yeah, these cards always go in like Izzet decks and stuff like that, where you can copy your non-creature spells. It does copy it, so it triggers like the non-creature stuff twice, unless there's like a limitation on it. It's got flashback. Sweet expressive iteration art. This card gets reprinted quite a bit now, I think. We got it in Strixhaven just recently. It's like a promo, but it's sweet to have like a Fantastic Four art if you're into that and you want to get them. I don't know. I don't think, could you pull the uncommons and the collector boosters for the commander stuff, or it's only the rares? Yeah, let me know down in the comments below, but I'd love to pick up 4 copies of that. Taunt from the Rampart, 3 red and a white. Goad all creatures your opponent controls until next turn. Those creatures can't block. It's like a political card. I've never really been into the goad thing. I know there's entire goad decks, but I would personally cut that. Franklin's Finality. So this is Annie joins up, and this is pretty sweet. This is a Franklin is the father of Reed Richards, right? No. Franklin is their son. Yeah, that's right. Franklin is heralding Galactus. That's right. And I forgot there's a whole comic line where Franklin is the Galactus is the herald to Franklin. So that's pretty sweet. When Franklin's Finality enters, deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls, and if triggered ability of a legendary creature you control triggers, triggered additional time. You're in a legendary deck. Everything's legendary. Just perfect card. Hull Breach, red and a green. Choose one. Just choose what you need: artifact, enchantment, or destroy artifact and enchantment. I don't know why it's like that. This is a reprint. I don't recall playing that card ever. I don't know why it says artifact and enchantment, but I guess that lets you get both. Willie Lumpkin, Postman, blue and a white, legendary creature, human citizen, can't be blocked. Whenever he deals combat damage to an opponent, draw a card. That player may also draw a card. If they do, that player can't attack you or permanents during your next turn. We got Willie Lumpkin before we got Beta Ray Bill. Okay. I think this goes in like a, was it Mrs. Bumbleflower decks though? Pretty cool political, like super friend or not super friends, like Hippogriff style card deck, commander decks. Whirlwind of Thought, 1 blue, red, white. Whenever you cast a non-creature, draw a card. Boom, you're doing plenty of that. Then this is the 5 Arrive, green, green, blue, 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 red, red. Genesis Ultimatum. Look at the top 5 of your library, put a number of permanent cards from among them onto the battlefield, and exile the 5 have arrived. This is like the Fantastic Four from an alternate like universe, but there's 5 of them, and different versions, different of them. I feel like these two deserve their own slide together. Galactus, Devourer of Worlds, 10, 12, 12. Legendary creature, Elder Alien, flying, trample, indestructible. Galactus enters, exile target permanent, insatiable hunger. Galactus attacks an opponent with the most life among opponents. Life among your opponents each combat if able, unless you control a creature named Silver Surfer. So you can control where he goes if Silver Surfer's out. Otherwise, he's just hitting the person with the most life. And I wish this was when he enters and attacks. That would make like 10 a lot easier. But he does come down and eat something. So that's pretty cool. Silver Surfer Galactus Herald, 5, 4/5 flying. When a Silver Surfer enters, you may search your library for a card named Galactus Devourer of Worlds, reveal it, and put it in your hand. And when Silver Surfer deals combat damage to a player until the end of your next turn, target creature attacks that player each combat if able. in your next turn, target creature. So you can make one of their creatures attack into Galactus, so you can block it and eat it. I almost feel like Surfer would be the better general if you're going for like a Galactus deck, because then you could just like pull this out of your deck each time. I wish that Galactus had the ability to go back into your deck or something, so you could get it multiple times. They just reprints of like Arcane Signet, Soul Ring, Chromatic Lantern, Lightning Greaves with the Fantastic Four art. They got Mirage Mirror, which I think is pretty cool. 3/2, the artifact becomes a copy of target artifact, creature, enchantment, or land. And then negative Zone Portal to 2-tap, exile target card from opponent's graveyard. If it's a creature, draw a card. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 4 or more creature cards exiled with this artifact, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, sacrifice this artifact and return the card exiled with it at random to its owner's hand. So pretty risky. Irby, lovable robot, 2/1/1, flying at the beginning of combat on your turn. If you cast non-creature, surveil, he adds a colorless or one of any color. I just wish he tapped for any color, or I guess they can't put the red, white, green, blue in there because then he could be like the commander, but I guess it makes sense now. The Fantastic card is crazy. 3/4/4 flying vehicle. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may have the Fantastic card become an artifact creature. The card can fly on its own, so it kind of makes sense that it doesn't need the crew. And then whenever you cast your 4th non-creature spell each turn, you may sacrifice a Fantastic card. If you do, create 4/4/4 colorless construct artifact tokens with flying and haste. The card can like break into 4, so if you cast 4, it breaks into 4, and then you get 4/4/4s, so lots of 4s. Pretty cool though. Unstable Molecule Suit 3, artifact equipment, creature gets indestructible and 2/2, and then if it goes to your commander, it's a 2. Can't remember if that was a reprint or not, but those are the Fantastic Four suits, so that is pretty cool art and pretty cool equipment card. There's a lot of like equipment that makes your commander indestructible, but it's pretty cool. Just rounding out the lands, a bunch of land reprints again. I've been pretty impressed with the amount of untapped lands they're putting in these commander decks. Normally they're just like flooded with tapped lands, and ones that have like your land tag type, mountain, forest, forest, island, mountain, etc. They did reprint another one. We were kind of hoping for this when we saw the Avengers Assemble deck. We got another one of the Battle Bond lands. Pretty good. Then you got some of your multicolored lands and some more of your typical reprints, but more untapped lands. The Baxter building here is the add 4 mana of any color combination or draw a card. Activate only if you control a creature with toughness 4 or greater. Just a utility land. And then we got a Fabled Passage reprint, which they don't put these in all commander decks, but they do tend to put them in ones that are like 4 or more mana colors. I think Turtle's got one too, so it's pretty cool with pretty sweet art. All right, we did it. We did our second commander deck. We got the Doom Prevail deck tomorrow, and then we round out Thursday with the Wakanda Forever deck, and then I think that officially wraps up spoiler season, and then we'll probably start seeing people opening boxes and all that stuff. And when we get our hands on some boxes, we'll do the same. And when it launches on Arena on the 23rd, we'll start playing some games. Leave down in the comments below what you're most excited to play with. Are you gonna who you're gonna use as a general from this deck? Personally, I think I'm just gonna kind of keep it Mr. Fantastic and as is. I actually don't want to minus anything from this deck. I kind of want to keep it as a precon for a while and play it around because it seems pretty fun. All right, if you don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.